Are the Atlanta Braves now a team built for dominant pitching? That certainly seems to be the case over the weekend with the Braves getting a series win in New York. We'll discuss all of that here on today's podcast. So let's get into it.
You are Locked On Braves, your daily Atlanta Braves podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, and welcome back to Locked On Braves, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, where we cover your favorite Atlanta sports teams each and every day. I am your host, Jake Mastriani. You can follow me on social media at ShortstopBall. Also, make sure you check out my written work over at BravesToday.com. Make sure you follow the podcast on social media at LockedOn_Braves. Send in any questions, comments, or feedback that you have for the podcast. I always enjoy hearing from you. And if you're an everydayer, let me hear from you, especially down in the comment section below on YouTube or on social media. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button as well, so more people will find the show and join us here at Locked On Braves. You're listening on the audio version. Thank you so much for your support. Continue to listen there. Leave me a 5-star review wherever you listen, Apple, Spotify, anywhere that you get your Locked On Braves podcast. Well, it was a series win in New York over the weekend, and we should be feeling good about that, but the way things ended gives you a bit of a sour taste as the Braves come back home. We'll discuss everything that happened over the weekend. It's also Monday, so we'll tell you everything happening down at the minor league level on this week's Minors Monday edition, and then I'll get you set up for this Cubs series happening this week in Atlanta, like I said, as the Braves are coming back home. Before we do that, though, this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Now, getting into the weekend series in New York, the Braves get a series win, and that's what you want. Win series, especially against division rivals. But the way things ended definitely leaves a sour taste in the mouth of many Braves fans, getting walked off by the Mets and by Brandon Nimmo, maybe the least favorite Met of all. And it's not his own fault. It's just, I don't know what it is about Brandon Nimmo, but he seems like a very unlikable person. But I'm sure that's not the case. I'm sure he's a great guy, but he wasn't on Sunday night because he ruined what should have been a series sweep for the Atlanta Braves. But again, trying to look on the positive side of things, it was a series sweep on the road, get a little bit of revenge for what the Mets did to the Braves in Atlanta in early April. We saw some home runs in this series, so that's certainly great. Still wasn't a fantastic performance by the offense. We almost saw a no-hitter on Saturday, came a 1 out away from getting a combined no-hitter. JD Martinez ruined that. Mets had a funny way of ruining some things this past weekend, even though the Braves did get a series win. And ultimately, that's what we should focus on, is the Braves went up to New York. They won 2 of 3, and that's what you need to do, to pick up those wins, get those series wins against your division rivals. But kind of my takeaway from this whole weekend, I would love to know your take on this as well. It's almost like the narrative of this Atlanta Braves team is flipping from being the best offense in all of baseball to now being one of the best pitching staffs in all of baseball. And it's early and things are going to fluctuate throughout the season. But really, over this stretch of 3 or 4 weeks where the offense just hasn't been what we're accustomed to seeing, pitching staff has been absolutely dominant. And it started with Charlie Morton on Friday night, and he has just been really good here as of late. And again, doing it in different ways, but still getting the job done. At 47.7% ground ball rate, at 33.3% hard hit rate, is 79th percentile. Average exit velocity against 87.6%. That's 71st percentile. A 229 expected batting average, a 351 expected ERA. He has been just really, really good for the Braves, again, especially as of late. But in his start on Friday against the Mets, 7 innings, 3 hits, just 1 walk, 1 earned run, and 7 strikeouts. I mentioned this on the postcast Friday night. Charlie Morton going up against the Mets is a matchup that usually terrifies me a little bit, because if he doesn't have that command, as he didn't back on a start against them on April 8th, where he walked 5 batters, he can really have a rough outing against this Mets team, against any team where you walk 4 or 5 batters, but especially against a Mets team that can be very patient, take a lot of pitches, draw a lot of walks. And if your command is not on, and that can be the case a lot of times for Charlie Morton, or at least has been, it's going to be a rough outing against that Mets team. But Charlie Morton able to get that good command, find that good command, and walk just 1 batters, and now Since he walked 5 in that outing against the Mets back on April 8th, he's walked 2 or fewer in every start since then, including just one batter in 3 of those starts. We've seen his whip go down from 1.35 after his third start of the year all the way down to 1.05. And again, it's no longer just that big strikeout pitcher, although he had 7 in this game on Friday night, but it's a guy who's commanding his pitches a little bit better. He's pitching to contact a little bit more. He's creating some weak contact. And it's been a different version of Charlie Morton than we're used to, but it's been a really good version of him. And hopefully this can continue. But again, just not that big strikeout guy. You look at going back to 2022, he had a 28.2% strikeout rate. That dropped to 25.6% last year, and it's now down to 23.8%. But again, it's just a different, and you're at 40. I mean, you got to mix things up in order to stay in the game and stay relevant. And he certainly seems to be doing that. That curveball has been a really good pitch for him, as it has been throughout his entire career. Batters hitting just 194 against that curveball this year. And again, what I'm seeing differently from Charlie Morton is he's able to throw that pitch for strikes more often and create that weak contact. But Max Fried, 7 innings, no hits, 3 walks, no earned, 5 strikeouts, 109 pitches on Saturday. He had to use everything in this one. And honestly, particularly early on, I felt like he was struggling to find something that worked. And he gave up some hard contact at the beginning of the game. He gave up 7 hard hits in this game, which is not a lot for most starters. But for Max Fried, that's a pretty good amount of hard hit balls given up. Some great plays by Michael Harris in center field, some balls that I thought the Mets got, including that one from Pete Alonso that Michael Harris made a great catch at the wall. I thought that ball was gone off the bat. I think Max did as well, but we talked about it all year. Balls just aren't traveling like we're accustomed to seeing. But either way, after about the second, third inning there, Max Fried really started to settle in. I thought he started to find the curveball again a little bit more. But you look at the pitch mix for him, 30 sinkers, 23 curveballs, 23 four-seamers, 13 changeups, 10 sliders, 9 cutters. I thought he threw some good cutters in there. And then 1 sweeper for good measure. You look at the velocity range. This is why it is so incredibly difficult to hit Max Fried and what makes him such a good pitcher. You're talking about a velocity range from 71.5 miles per hour to 97.3 miles per hour. Batters have to be able to cover that wide a range of velocity of pitches with movement all over the place. It's what makes Max Fried so special. And again, when he is able to command all of those pitches, you're going to see outings like we saw on Saturday, and really like we have since that second start of the season. He's now taken a no-hitter through 6 innings and 7 innings this year. In his last 6 starts, 40 and a third innings, 18 hits allowed, 13 walks, pretty high for Max Fried. He's now had 4 games this year of 3 or more walks, which again, I still feel like there's times, even in these good outings, where he's struggling to find that command from time to time, but the stuff is just still so good. He's not giving up a lot of hard contact. And 8 earned runs over that stretch, 1.78 ERA, a 0.77 whip. It's been an incredible run that he's been on since a couple of rough starts to begin the year. He's taken his ERA from 18 after that start against the Diamondbacks for the home opener. It's now down to 3.57. He now has a 3.57 ERA on the year with a 1.04 whip. So just very quickly in a stretch of 6 starts, he has gotten those ERA and whip numbers back to what we're used to seeing. And he looks like the really good ace version of Max Fried. And that is certainly great to hear for the Braves. Great to see. But it wasn't just Max Fried. Again, Charlie Morton was good. And I thought Bryce Elder was fine. And that's all I need from Bryce Elder, is to be fine. He gave the team a chance to win on Sunday, and the Braves had a chance to win, just weren't able to get that final out. 5 1/3 innings on Sunday night for Bryce Elder. Did give up 7 hits, but no walks. And that's always key for Bryce Elder. It's key for a lot of pitchers, but for Bryce Elder in particular, no walks against that Mets lineup. Like, you can give up 7 hits for Bryce Elder. He's going to give up his hits because he's a pitch to contact guy. But when you combine that with the walks, and then if he gives up a home run or 2, then things can get really out of control for Bryce Elder. But to be able to not walk anybody, got 6 strikeouts, he had some good stuff going. For me, for Bryce Elder, if he can work into the 6th inning, would love for him to get through 6 innings and only give up, 2, 3, even 4 earned runs at times every now and then. It's not going to be bad for your 5th starter we're talking about with Bryce Elder. I know everybody wants to kind of react to what he did in LA, giving up 7 earns in 3 1/3 innings. That is a Dodgers lineup that many fifth starters are going to give up 5 or plus more runs to. But overall, I think Bryce Elder in that 5th spot, if he pitches like this, the Braves are going to be just fine. Again, gave his team a chance to win the game, worked into the 6th inning. That's what I'm looking for with Bryce Elder. But this pitching staff has just been so good as of late, and at a time when the Braves desperately needed it because the offense continues to struggle. And I'll talk a little bit more about that before we get into Minors Monday, but we'll discuss that here next. My wife and I started looking for life insurance several years ago. We started having kids. We wanted to make sure they had the protection that they need. And I wish we would have known about Policygenius at the time. I wish they would have been a sponsor of our show at the time because it is a very stressful process to go through. But Policygenius cuts all of that out. They are the country's leading online insurance marketplace, saving you time and money so you can provide your family with a financial safety net starting today. With Policygenius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 a year for $1 million of coverage. Some options offer same-day approval and avoid unnecessary medical exams. Policygenius helps you compare your options from top companies. Their team of licensed experts is on hand to help talk you through it. And again, take some of that stress off of you. Easily compare quotes from America's top insurers in just a few clicks to find your lowest price. So check life insurance off your to-do list in no time with Policygenius. Head to policygenius.com/lockedonmlb or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com/lockedonmlb. You like having sports on your TV all day because you just want to know what's going on in the world of sports, but you're watching ESPN, Fox Sports, you're constantly having to turn it down or mute it because there's all the nonsense that they're rambling about and shouting about so that people will look at them. Don't worry about that anymore. Make the switch over to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all that screaming. And Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to finish our discussion about what happened over the weekend. I talked about the pitching staff and how they've really been carrying the Braves through this stretch. Offense still struggling overall, but we did see the home run ball back in play, which is hopefully a good sign of things to come. You had Jared Kelenic, Orlando Arcia, Ronald Acuna, Ozzie Albies, and Matt Olson all hit home runs over the weekend. That's more than they hit on a 6-game road trip that they had out west. So that's certainly an encouraging sign. What's not encouraging is that they've only scored more than 5 runs in a game once since April 19th. I mean, we're getting into the teens in May. We're in May 13th today, and the Braves haven't scored more than 5 runs in a game since April the 19th, or they've done it only once since April the 19th. And I think that was a 6-run performance. This offense just isn't clicking like we're accustomed to seeing. They aren't bludgeoning teams like we're used to seeing. And obviously a lot of that has to do with the lack of home runs and the lack of production from the top of the order. So while I'm glad to see some of these home runs, and I think we are seeing signs from Acuna, from Riley, who hopefully is okay. We'll talk about that a little bit later, and Olsen as well. But this offense just isn't performing to the levels that I expect them to perform a lot this year. But we are going on a 3-4 week stretch now where this offense just hasn't put up the numbers that we expect to see from them. So hopefully things turn around soon, but I feel like we've been saying that for a while now. We have been saying that for a while now, and they're going to have to prove it to me. Again, we're seeing small signs, and it feels like one good game here and then one bad game here. They haven't really just put together a string of quality games offensively that we're used to seeing. We haven't seen them put up that 7-8 run outing that we're accustomed to seeing them do pretty regularly, and that's just not happening right now. And we got to talk about AJ Minter in the 9th inning and what the effect the no-hitter had on Saturday. Not only did the Braves lose the no-hitter with 1 out to go on Saturday, it might have also cost them the game on Sunday because you bring Raisel Iglesias in a non-situation on Saturday to try to finish off the no-hitter. That doesn't happen. It makes Iglesias unavailable on Sunday. And, of course, you get in a 1-run situation, and Snitker throws AJ Minter back out there for the 9th, gives him another chance in that 9th inning. But at this point, I think we all have to agree There's just something about that ninth inning for AJ Minter that he can't get over that hurdle. He is fantastic in the 7th, 8th inning. Throw him up against the top of the order in the 7th or 8th inning, and AJ Minter can be lights out. But in that 9th inning, it's just different. And now we've seen in the past couple of weeks, he's given up 2-run walk-off home runs for the Braves to lose. And that's just tough. And I hate it for AJ Minter, who, again, has been really good. But I said it repeatedly last year, especially early on when he was struggling. That cutter cannot miss over the plate. And I get it for a lot of pitchers. You don't want to miss over the plate. But that pitch in particular, when he misses with it, it just gets destroyed. And pitchers can have good pitches that they can miss over the plate with, and they can still get, bad contact with it. That's not the case with AJ Minter's cutter. If he misses his spot and it is over the plate, really anywhere over the plate, it is getting crushed. But especially when you throw a middle cutter to Brandon Nimmo, it's going to get destroyed. This stat here is crazy. Batters have a 127 expected batting average against AJ Minter's cutter this year. That is fantastic. They are slugging 722 against his cutter this year, which means when he is missing with it, batters are not missing it. And they are absolutely crushing that pitch. All the runs AJ Minter has given up this year have been on home runs. And again, I would bet that a lot of those are on that cutter. You have to treat it like a slider. It's a pitch that has to be off the plate. If it is over the middle of the plate, just consider it a hanging slider, because batters are destroying it when he misses with that cutter. So again, AJ Minter's really good. I hate the struggles that he's had in the 9th inning, because it's probably going to cost him a lot of money this offseason, because teams probably aren't going to view him as a closer, and they're going to hold that against him, as they probably rightfully should. But otherwise, AJ Minter, just leave him in the 7th or 8th inning. Give Jimenez, Pierce Johnson could be back this weekend. Give him chances in those 9th innings, or don't use your closer in a 4-run game. Even though I was on board with it to try to get the no-hitter, but that did probably cost the Braves a game on Sunday night. Getting into our Minors Monday segment here, we'll start with the top prospects. AJ Smith-Shawver, struggling with words this Monday morning. AJ Smith-Shawver had 2 starts this past week. Neither one of them fantastic. Combined, he gave up 7 earned runs on 9 hits and 6 walks over 8 innings with just 6 strikeouts. So again, not the best performances, not the best 2-start performance this week. In the first one, he went 4 1/3 innings, 4 hits, 3 walks, 3 earned, 3 strikeouts. And then in his second outing, he went 3 2/3 innings, gave up 5 hits, another 3 walks, 4 earned runs, a home run, and 3 strikeouts. Gave up 2 home runs in his first outing of the week. So 3 home runs total this past week. And that's something that AJ's really struggled with, especially in his time at the majors, is that home run ball. That's something he's got to get under control. Obviously wasn't able to watch those starts, so can't say specifically what was troubling him or maybe what he was working on. But the home run ball in particular has really hurt him at the major league level and now at the minor league level as well. As for Hurston Waldrep, 5 1/3 innings, 6 hits, 3 walks, 1 earned, 3 strikeouts. I did get to watch some of that outing, and look, he was fine. I didn't see any improvement from last year in terms of command of his pitches. And I say all that, and he's the guy that I ranked the top prospect in the Braves system, because I still think this stuff is just that good that he can get outs with it. He just needs control over command. He just needs to be able to throw his pitches in the zone, and he's typically going to get weak contact. I know there was a ball in that game specifically where he should have been out of the inning. It was a lazy fly to right field. The right fielder got a bad break on it. I think it's a ball Acuna with his speed. Even if he gets a bad break, as tends to happen, he probably catches up with it and gets that ball and gets Waldrep out of an inning. So there's stuff like that you have to account for at the minor league level as well. But it's still I didn't see a ton of improvement command-wise or control-wise, whatever you want to call it, for Hurston Waldrep in that outing. Spencer Schwellenbach, 4 2/3, just 2 hits, but 3 walks, no earned, 6 strikeouts. It's crazy. We asked for the strikeouts for Schwellenbach, and we're getting those now. But now we're starting to see more walks. I'm not seeing him go as deep into games. I'm still very high on Spencer Schwellenbach. And again, not a terrible performance at all. He didn't give up any runs, over 4 2/3. But certainly the 3 walks, don't love seeing that. As for Owen Murphy, 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, 1 hit batter, 2 earned runs, 8 strikeouts. So still racking up the strikeouts. Nacho Alvarez, 6 for 23 this past week, 2 doubles. There's some extra bases for you there. A walk to 5 strikeouts and a stolen base. Cade Keeler, just 2/3 of an inning, didn't make it out of the first inning. A lot of that probably had to do with the fact that he was at 31 pitches, and you don't want to, see a young pitcher have to throw that many pitches in an inning. So the Braves likely just pulling him there. I would not be surprised if he went after that and kind of got some more ups and downs and worked through it in the bullpen. But you never want to see a young pitcher have to throw 30 plus pitches in an inning. He gave up 2 hits, 2 walks, 2 earned runs. He struck out the last batter that he faced there, but certainly not the outing you were hoping for with Cade Keeler. And then Drew Hackenberg, 5 1/3 innings, 4 hits, 4 walks, just 1 earned, and 5 strikeouts. We've seen a lot of walks from Hackenberg here lately, and that's really not something I expected from him coming into the season. That's your top prospects. Next, I am going to go through every level, but I wanted to take a break here before we do that next, and then we'll also preview the Cubs series. We'll do that right after this. Baseball season's in full swing. Don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your PrizePicks entries. Whether it's strikeouts, RBI, or first inning runs, take your pick of more or less and add them to your PrizePicks entries today. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. It is the easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite teams play. Just pick more or less on 2 or more players and watch the winnings roll in. PrizePicks offers weekly promotions as well that can lead to big payouts, and PrizePicks is really simple to play. I can submit my entry in less than 60 seconds. I'm looking at my PrizePicks app now. They have William Contreras for 7.5 hitter fantasy points today. You can pick more or less on that. They have Ronaldo Lopez for 5 strikeouts. You think he's going to get more than 5 strikeouts against the Cubs? I certainly hope so. I think Shota Imanaga might get more than 5 strikeouts against the Braves. That's what they have for him. So you can check out PrizePicks today. Download the app. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, that's code LOCKEDON, all lowercase, for a first deposit match up to $100 when you download the PrizePicks app today. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy with PrizePicks. All right, we'll get back into our Minors Monday segment here. We'll go through every level. David Fletcher, 7 for 25. No extra base hits, but that's what you get with David Fletcher, who, if Riley is going to be out for an extended period, I would expect him to get the call. Yuli Gurriel, 5 for 19, 2 walks, 2 doubles, and a home run. Forrest Wall, 5 for 18, a double, a triple, 4 walks, and a stolen base. On the pitching side, at Gwinnett, Dayswell Hernandez, 3 innings, no hits, 1 walk, no earned, 6 strikeouts. That's what he's capable of when he is on. Dylan Dodd, 6 innings, 6 hits, a walk, 3 earned, 4 strikeouts. Darius Vine, 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 walks, no earned, 3 strikeouts. Alan Winan, 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 walk, 2 earned, 4 strikeouts. I love reading it off that way because you look at the depth of this Braves pitching staff, and those are good starts from Dodd, Vines, and Winans. Those are starts that I would certainly take at the big league level. And again, I think it just speaks to kind of the depth of this pitching staff that you have those 3 guys who can go 6 innings like that, give up 3 earned or less. Not going to have a lot of strikeouts. It's not overpowering stuff, but when those guys are doing what they're capable of, those are the outings that they can produce. And so you got to see that all in 1 week at Gwinnett. At Mississippi, Cody Milligan, 6 for 21 with a home run. Not much else to speak of offensively at Mississippi, but a lot on the pitching side of things. Parker Dunshee, 2 games, 3 2/3 innings, 3 hits, a walk, 1 earned, and 9 strikeouts in 3 2/3 innings. Ian Mejia is another one of these pitchers I'm going to have to go back and watch because he is having a fantastic season. 5 2/3 this last week, 3 hits, 2 walks, no earned, and 9 strikeouts. He's 24 years old, right-handed pitcher, 11th round pick out of New Mexico State in the 2022 draft, and 7 starts this year now, a 2.02 ERA, a 1.07 whip, a 187 average against, and 43 strikeouts and 35 2/3 innings. Definitely a name you need to keep an eye on. Drew Parrish is somebody I mention every week as well. He had 2 starts this past week, 11 innings, just 7 hits and 2 walks, 4 earned, and 7 strikeouts. Roldy Munoz, 2 2/3 innings, 6 strikeouts. Did give up a couple of runs, but that stuff is just so electric. JJ Negro, 6 innings, 6 hits, a walk, 2 earned, and 6 strikeouts. And Hayden Harris, still having a great year out of the bullpen at Mississippi. 3 innings pitched, just 1 hit and 1 walk, no earned, and 3 strikeouts. Down at Rome, EJ Exposito stays red hot, 7 for 19, 2 doubles, 2 homers, 3 walks, and 2 stolen bases. Kevin Kilpatrick was 7 for 26, had a double, 2 walks, and 3 steals. Giancarlos Lara, not a great start, but I just want to mention him because I think he's going to be a breakout prospect this year. 3 2/3 innings, just 2 hits allowed, but 4 walks and 2 hit batters. So maybe still a little rusty as he gets things going here. but did only allow just 1 earned run with 4 strikeouts. So shows you how good the stuff can be that he gives up all those base runners and only allows 1 earned run. Corey Wall, 2 2/3 innings, just 1 hit, no walks, no earned, and 6 strikeouts. And then Ellison Joseph, I wanted to highlight him this week. 2 perfect innings, 3 strikeouts, and a save. He now has pitched 9 1/3 innings this year, allowed just 4 hits, 3 walks, no earned, with 13 strikeouts. And in his career, 153 strikeouts and 115 2/3 innings. So potentially some big stuff there for Ellison Joseph. At Augusta, Luis Sanchez was 7 for 24 with 3 walks and 4 steals. Riley Frey, 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 walk, no earned, 7 strikeouts. A 19th round pick last year, has a 1.54 ERA, 0.81 whip, in 28 Ks and 23 1/3 innings at Augusta this season. Mitch Ferris had a good start as well. 5 innings, 2 hits, no walks, no earned, 6 strikeouts. Davis Polo out of the bullpen, 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, no earned, and 6 strikeouts. Garrett Bauman, 6 2/3, did give up 7 hits, but just 1 walk and only 1 earned run with 4 strikeouts. He's gone 6 innings or more in 3 of his last 4 starts. So that's great to see for the young kid going deep into the game. And Adam Mayer, guy I've been telling you about a lot, been injured. Obviously, we're getting to see him for the first time this year. And he's been impressive. 6 innings, 6 hits, no walks, which is really good for a guy coming off injury. 3 earned runs, 4 strikeouts. So great to see for him. And then at the FCL level, not much to speak of here. Angel Niebles was 4 for 14 with a walk. Mario Baez, 3 for 14 with a walk and a stolen base. Have not seen Luis Guanipa yet. Jose Perdomo, I mentioned last week, he was put on the 60-day IL, so it'll be a while before we see him. Isaiah Drake is down at the FCL level. Again, not sure if he's just recovering from injury or they're giving him a little bit of a reset, but he's played in some games there. On the pitching side, Jeremy Reyes, 4 1/3 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, no earned, 6 strikeouts is a name to keep an eye on. And Kedon Morton, moving from position player to pitcher, looked pretty good. 4 innings, 2 hits, 2 walks, 1 earned, and 5 strikeouts. So a little bit lengthy there on the Minors Monday segment, but hopefully you enjoy that and give you some names to keep an eye on. We do have a bit of news, unfortunately, to talk about. Austin Riley leaving Sunday's game with tightness in his left side. We're hoping it's not an oblique injury like Sean Murphy that's going to cost him a lot of time. Braves don't seem too concerned. Riley doesn't seem too concerned. Said he felt it in BP and then felt it again with a swing in the 3rd inning. Said he could be back this weekend. With just a 10-day IL for hitters, you could maybe give it a couple of days. And if you think it's going to be more time, you could just put him on the IL and retroactivate it, till the first game that he missed. And like I said, if that happens, I got to think David Fletcher gets the call up, but we may see Zach Short at 3rd base right now for the Braves. Sean Murphy, he's waiting on his final step in taking BP, but he's progressing, so see him back in the next 2 to 3 weeks maybe. But got to be able to obviously swing in BP first, and then at this point, he's probably going to need at least a short rehab assignment. And then Pierce Johnson could be back over the weekend. So some bad news in there with Austin Riley getting hurt, but again, maybe not the worst news if he's back this weekend. And then some good news with Sean Murphy hopefully being back in the next couple of weeks, and Pierce Johnson being back possibly this weekend. Now the Braves got to fly home after a tough loss in Sunday Night Baseball to get ready for the Cubs and a 3-game series at home. No Dansby Swanson in this series. He's on the injured list, but they are going to see Shota Imanaga on Monday. And for an offense that's struggling, this is not a guy that you want to face right now, because not only is he looking like the rookie of the year, he's looking like the Cy Young right now with the way that he has pitched. He has been fantastic. I think this is the 2nd time in a row now that Ronaldo Lopez has matched up with somebody who also has an ERA in the ones. But Shota Imanaga, 5-0 this year, a 1.08 ERA, 41 2/3 innings, 43 strikeouts, a 0.82 whip. He has just been fantastic. That split finger that he has been really good at pitch for him. It's really the 4-seamer and split finger. He throws a 4-seamer 58% of the time, the split finger 30% of the time. And batters just are hitting 177 against that splitter this year. And it's been a really good pitch for him, a 47.7% whiff rate. So, like I said, doing that PrizePicks read, they have him for 5 strikeouts on Monday. I might take more on that one with the way that Shota has pitched. The rest of the pitching matchup is going to be Jamison Taillon versus Chris Sale. Not sure who's pitching for the Cubs on Wednesday against Charlie Morton. But I like these pitching matchups for the Braves. Like I said, Lopez versus Imanaga is going to be a tough one on Monday. But Lopez, Chris Sale, Morton, the way this Braves pitching staff has been lately, I feel very confident in just about anybody that they run out there. And if the offense can ever get going to match it, this team is going to absolutely take off. And they've been winning despite the offense not being or not playing at full max capacity because the starting pitching and pitching staff in general has been so good. And hopefully that continues against the Cubs in this series. I want to remind you again, Locked On's launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. It's now also available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. That will do it for this episode of Locked On Braves. Thanks so much for making it here to the end. Again, if you're an everydayer, let me know down in the comment section below. Would love to hear from you. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button and that thumbs up button. Make sure you follow us on social media at ShortstopBall, at LockedOn_Braves. Make sure you rate, review, and subscribe to the Locked On Braves podcast wherever you get your podcast, and we will talk to you next time.